SOS, Serbisyo, Ora-Mismo, Sigurado. Programang tatalakay sa kapangyarihan ng serbisyo sibil. SOS, Serbisyo, Ora-Mismo, Sigurado. Programang hihimay sa kapangyarihan ng pamalang lokal. SOS, Serbisyo, Ora-Mismo, Sigurado. Programang maglalapit sa pamalaan at mamamayan. SOS, Serbisyo, Ora-Mismo, Sigurado. Kikilos ang barangay para sa bayan. Edukasyon, kalusugan, trapiko, basura at iba pa. SOS, Serbisyo, Ora-Mismo, Sigurado. Tatalakay sa mga problemang napapanahon, problemang hahanapan ng solusyon. At ngayon, ang inyong mga lingkod, De Leon Gomez, SOS, Serbisyo, Ora-Mismo, Sigurado. This program is supported by the National Kidney and Transplant Institute, the Philippine Red Cross, Parenting Foundation, and the Metro Manila Council.
Mga kaibigan, ito po ang SOS, Serbisyo, Ora-Mismo, Sigurado ng ating tita ng barangay, Tita Cora Alma de Leon. Ngayon ay Biyernes sa 29 Abril, taong 2022. Si AJ Austria, ang ating technical director. Ako yung lingkod, si Johnny Gomez, at syempre pa, ang ating chairperson ng Save the Paranaque River Foundation Incorporated, ang Vice President ng International School of Sustainable Tourism at Governor ng Philippine Red Cross. Bago ang lahat, mamamayan muna na, SOS pa, ang ating Tita Cora Alma de Leon. Magandang Biyernes, Tita Cora.
Yes. Magandang Biyernes. Today is Friday, and in our lives, we sometimes fall out of fear. Sometimes we feel and get hurt, and sometimes this fear makes us lost somehow. But this sometimes are the very reason we stand up again and again to mind our own fear of hurts. Everything that happens has a good purpose in our lives. This is why we need to transform our fears to trust. Who do we trust to weather our storms? Of course, family and friends. But beyond this trust is the infinite trust on our Lord. Failure to trust weakens our firm resolve to be strong, to fight every challenge, and weakens us in life. Today in SOS, Serbisyo, Ora-Mismo, we are asked to have that faith that God is with us, ever faithful, ever true. In this fact, we are unceasing, unrelenting, unwavering, and of course, unstoppable, the Red Cross way. At tayo natutuwa sapagkat special ang ating guest, dalawa, di kakalahati. No? Ang una, ang papakaliwanag natin ay si Dean Eds Shalsita ng Universidad ng Perpetual Health. No? Ayan na siya.
Hello.
Perfect. Ang galing ng timing. Yes.
Magandang hapon, Johnny at Corazon.
Magandang hapon, Congressman.
Opo. Ako po ay nagagalak
Okay.
na kinumbida ninyo para magpagbigay ng kuro-kuro kung saan bagay man yan.
Well, unang-una, gusto ko ipaliwanag mo na meron kang mangyayari tomorrow, April 30, na magiging pakinabang sa mga makaka-attend o makakapanood ng yung
Yes.
pinlanong gawin na tamang-tama lang kasi April 30, May 9 na tayo.
That's right.
On the 9th day, they will have to make a decision, di ba? Go ahead.
Yes. Well, everybody is talking about personalities, but we seem to forget that what we should be looking for are the qualities of the leaders that we like to elect. Para hindi masyado maging personalo ng labanan, hanapin natin kung ano-ano pa mga katangian dapat natin hanapin sa mga kandidato para iboto natin yung gusto natin ng mga katangian nila. Diba? Ang lahat naman ng tao ay may katangian, may masama, may maigi. But what are the sterling qualities that we are looking for? So we have a webinar precisely with the title sponsored by the University of Perpetual Health, Institute of Public Administration. Actually, Cora, it was only meant for one day, which is tomorrow. But because of the overwhelming response, we decided to have it in two parts. No? Part one today, starting at 4. The speakers will be mostly from the academe, the students, and the private sector. Tomorrow, it will be the people with experience in public service, which includes, of course, you, Ora, and we thank you for accepting our invitation. The likes of Rafi Alunan, the likes of Secretary John Canlas, the likes of some congressmen,
Canlas.
Olivares, and even some of the candidates, although we requested not to mention anyone in particular. But their experience, and they're exceptionally good people. Mig Subiri, Dick Gordon, Sherwin Gatchalian, and Joel Villanueva. You know, they come from different parties. But we will not be talking about parties. We will be talking about quality.
Okay.
That's where we are, and we are inviting all your listeners to tune in today at 4. And we have speakers from the private sector, mostly deans, mostly professors. And tomorrow are the heavyweights. I don't mean that physically, I mean that figuratively. The people with solid experience in government, with impeccable integrity attached to their names. That's
Well,
it.
I feel honored to have been asked to join, Pero nga ang
Thank you.
timing, dahil it will start at 4 o'clock, I have a 5 o'clock thing, but I expect that in that hour, I'll be able to contribute. Diba?
Yes, of course. We will be honored to have you with us, Cora.
Yeah. And ang ibabandilyo ko, yung 10 qualities of a good leader. So they
good,
can, kung isa'y kumakandidato, they can check. Sa 10 ba nito, alin dito ako? 9 ba?
That's correct.
8 ba? 7? Parang,
maganda yan.
They can self-check. Di ba? So anyway, moving on. Ang talagang interview na to ay para sa'yo. I remember, Ed, first I heard Ed muna nung yung kanyang yung first agency na hinandle mo. Ano kang agency?
Well, I had a short stint as Deputy Minister for Information under Teddy Boy Locsin, but that was short-lived because I really did not have not much experience in handling media. But anyway, I accepted it, and it was short-lived. So the president appointed me to the Public Estate Authority at that time. It was called PEA.
Yes, PEA.
That was my first. And the person who convinced me to join it was Jaime Ferrer. You know, Jaime Ferrer is a legend in Parañaque. So he said, Ed, why don't you take that? I said, I don't know much about reclamation. He said, no. It's easy to learn naman eh. You're just creating land from the water. He said, what? And why is it so significant? Because you will be adding land to Parañaque. Parañaque is already small. It's overpopulated. But if you reclaim further to the west, you will add another 800 hectares to Parañaque. And true enough, if you go to the reclamation area now, a portion from part of it is Pasay City, of course, from Cultural Center all the way to MOA area. But after the MOA area, as soon as you see, what do you call the shopping center? That's already all Parañaque, which includes Okada, includes City of Dreams.
Itong Uniwide, Congressman.
Yes, Uniwide, that's right.
Yes,
And and SNR, and so we were able to add another 800 hectares. So that's my modest contribution to Parañaque. Of course, the reclamation at that time was not as popular as it is now. We also finished the Cebu reclamation project, which includes now the famous SM portion of Cebu. And we did Philinvest, and we got involved in the master planning of Subic Clark, and one more, Bonifacio. That's what we contributed, the master planning, those three major military bases. It was quite an experience.
Kasi, but by the results, we will be judged. I always say that. And I think,
Yes.
whereas people doubted, bakit ba tinatabunan ng ilog? And then when they realized the boom na parang sa development, na ang model talaga is Singapore, because Singapore really was a very tiny island. Pero yumaman because they were able to reclaim lots of areas. I mean, malaking area. Kaya may papaliwanag natin, we could be able to explain that if it is well done, of course, hindi nagsuffer yung mga tao na basta inalis lang. Wala naman dahil new land yun eh. Kaya magandang nangyari.
At when I
And for Parañaque, we became richer.
Our revenues grew now from a previous, when I was a congressman, it was only 2 billion. Now, I understand it's already 12 billion pesos. No? A lot of that is from the Pagcor City and the reclamation. But nevertheless, the more important part for the NCR as a whole, the population density of Metro Manila is 25,000 persons per kilometer. No, you can imagine the density. No, so we have no choice but to expand. But there's no more room to expand. Where do you go? The only way to expand Metro Manila is to go to the Manila Bay. That would help Manila. That would help Pasay. That would help Parañaque, Las Piñas, and then you can reclaim on the east side with the Laguna Lake. That's 50,000 hectares. No? So there's plenty of space that you can create. We're bursting at the seams, so to speak. Manila has an overnight, as a daytime population of 8 million and daytime population of 14 million, and then nighttime it's only 10 million. So 4 million people come to NCR. That accounts for the traffic.
And related to that, as chairman of the Save the Parañaque River, I have a dream. Ang dream ko na yung mga boatmen, yung mga fishermen, na there's not that much fish anymore around the river, ay pwede silang maging tour guides, iikot na kabangka, lalo na yung mga young couples. Yung mga Koreans, young couples, they can ride in this bank, and in this bangka ride all the way to the cultural center. Magandang area yun kasi parang from the Parañaque River, cross sila out to the Manila Bay. So we're not yet there, but it's a dream that we want to.
It's a very nice dream, Cora, and I congratulate you for being the chairman of the Parañaque River Foundation. That is one of the longest rivers in the Philippines, and because of Parañaque River, we're able to flush out, go to the Manila Bay through that passage. No? So it's important for us to keep it clean all the time and sanitary.
But the problem is, of course, the garbage from Pasay, the garbage passes to Parañaque, and then Las Piñas, which is a smaller river, reacts also. So we all three of us have to do the cleaning. And there has been marked improvement, but it's not enough because we still have a few informal settlers in the side of Baclaran. And I think if that is done, it's going to be a very good site. You can in fact take the bangka from La Huerta to Baclaran. Imbis na sasakay ka sa jeep, sakay ka ng bangka papuntang Baclaran. Or papuntang cultural center, pwede. Anyway, mga panaginip yon. Pero siguro si Johnny, ngayon mo lang mamimit si Congressman Chalcita, si Edsa.
In person, ngayon lang, Tita Cora. Pero nung ako'y nagsisimula sa radyo nung araw, talaga namang kilalang kilala Pagka sinabi mong EDSA, wala pong iba kundi si Congressman Chelsea.
Salamat naman po. Salamat naman po.
Kinoin nga niya
Well,
yung kanyang pangalan at apelyido kaya naging EDSA eh. Tamang-tama, kala EDSA siya may-ari ng EDSA hanggang Quezon City.
That's right.
But
And
where are the
kasi
Chelsea?
the first time I ran kasi Cora, I was using Chelsea. The voters said, ang hirap naman spelling ng pangalan mo. Kasi saan, bundok ka ba? So my PR advisor at that time was really Herman. I said, Ed, why don't you just call yourself EDSA?
Oo nga.
So I switched to EDSA, and then later on it became my political moniker. And thanks to Relly for inventing that name. So
Where is Relly Herman now? Still around?
I don't know, but
Not heard,
Relly, his son is more popular than him right now. I always watch his son in his political analysis, but obviously he took a lot of it from his father. Relly was campaign manager of Pori and Erap.
Yes.
That's how good he is.
Oh, din.
Medyo advanced stage na rin si Relly. Advanced stage.
Yeah.
Kaklase ni Erap yan, so that's probably the same age.
Well, you cannot stop the clock, as I always say. Pag, the clock ticks at a certain point,
Every day
you're gonna be a gunner, Johnny, your turn.
On the trivia side, Cora, not too many people know that I was the principal author of the Senior Citizens Act in Congress. And I say principal author because I was the chairman of the technical working group. Of course, I was not the only one involved, but I'm modestly aside. I was the chairman of the technical working group, and when we finalized it, I also represented the lower house in the bicameral committee meetings, and we were able to finally come up with the expanded Senior Citizens Act. Of course, now there has been many improvements. Eric Olivares is also very active on the side, and. So when you use your discount card, it's a little bit of me in that discount. And the reason is because, I'm a Lola's boy. My grandma took care of me. So I promised her that I will fight for senior citizens' rights. And it became my favorite advocacy in Congress. And I'm quite happy about that. I was also trying to reduce the retirement age because it's in the Philippines, one of the few places in the world where we make age a compulsory retirement is the Philippines. In the United States, you can work until you're 100 years old for as long as you're lucid. So there's no problem with age. And when you hire people in the United States, because I did extensive studies on this, you cannot even ask the guy applying, well, how old you are.
How old,
Not allowed. So maybe someday we will be able to remove the compulsory retirement because, at the age of 56, you're a colonel in the army. You're forced to retire. And in my university now, many of my professors are seniors because they're the ones with the experience. Of course, medyo pagdating sa digital technology, alam mo naman po, mga bata hindi tayo sa
harder still. Pero my claim, EDSA, my claim to fame also, it was during my time as Secretary of Social Welfare when the Senior Citizens Act was passed. Kaya ako ang signatory kami ni Rafi Alunan. The first set of ID cards kami ni Rafi Alunan ang nakapirma.
And that's
Pero
really
yung mga taong nakatanggap noong patay na siguro ngayon, they probably are all dead.
Because the original author, I am not claiming it. The original advocate is Senator Ed Angara.
Yes.
He was the first one who introduced. So when I wanted to expand him, I asked permission from him. I said, Ed, you have a wonderful bill, but perhaps we can work to improve it. And so we improved it. The early versions of the Senior Citizens Act, you were required to have an ID. And it had to be a city ID. We removed that. Now any ID you can use. And we also introduced penalties for those who violate the law. But Ed has always been an inspiration to many. But we call him the grandfather of the senior citizen. Pero maganda sa senior citizens, lahat naman ay tumulong. Wala naman nag-object talaga.
At talagang compared even sa mga Filipinos in America, when they come here, they really get a senior citizens card para they can avail of the benefits sa restaurant. So nakakasama sila. Maski kahit American citizen sila, pag pupunta sila sa kamag-anak nila, they get a senior citizen card. Johnny,
There's one.
Sige, go ahead.
Okay. Yes. Tita Cora, Congressman, curious lang ako. Dahil si Congressman Edsa, from government service to education, parang bibihira yung ganon, na yung mga nagtatapos sa serbisyo sibil sa gobyerno, usually nagiging mga private person o kaya mga business persons. Parang epitome of a true public servant, no? Yung nangyayari kay Congressman Edsa. Was it a personal choice, Congressman, to devote your time in education naman?
It's really a combination. Kasi my first career was human resources. I've always been a trainer all my life. And then all of a sudden, I find myself in the world of politics. And then, my mother had developed Alzheimer's disease, so I took care of her for 5 years. And Alzheimer's is a very strong, malakas ang Alzheimer's sa family namin. So I consulted many people, and they told me, Ed, the best way to fight Alzheimer's is to teach. Because the biggest enemy of Alzheimer's is you don't use your mind. Aside from crossword puzzle, you go out there and teach.
Yes.
I say, why not? Marami naman tayong natutunan, marami naman tayong nagawa. You love teaching. So I started to teach. I even consulted Cora, and she also encouraged me to teach. And then my friend, Lenny De Jesus, became president of PLN. So I called her one day and she said, sige, Ed, we like people like you to work with us. So I started working with PLN. Then somewhere along the line, I bumped into Chairman Tony Tamayo and invited him to be the dean of the graduate school. And I must tell you that I feel very happy and very fulfilled with what I'm doing because para ka din congressman dito, kaya lang limited ka sa mga estudyante, mga professor. Marami ka natutulungan dito. And Chairman Tony has a soft heart for teachers. So
yes.
We have many programs. We give special attention and discounts to teachers because we'd like them to, to climb up the stairs, and getting a master's degree and a PhD are helpful to them. And of course, we're also catering to the foreign market. We're happy to inform you that we have a large foreign population here. We have plenty of Chinese and Indians who are studying with us. Because the Philippines is, we have one of the best education systems in this part of the world, the Asia Pacific. We are very, very prominent field of education primarily because of our ability to speak English, which is very helpful to us.
But where did you get your doctoral? Because you're, of course, known as Dr. Ed Shalsita.
Well, I did special studies in Georgetown University. So that's where I got
Georgetown.
Yeah. I was a government scholar. The government sent me there for 1 year. And thanks to PEA, they sent me on a scholarship to Georgetown.
Well,
my master's naman was in UAP, University of Asia Pacific.
Asia Pacific. It's a good university. Ako naman, ang claim ko to fame is that I have 2 master's degree, both in America. The other one is master's degree in social work at the Catholic University of America in Washington, D.C.
Meron palang social work, huh?
Yes, yes.
Where is that again? For a master's
in Washington, D.C. National Catholic School of Social Service. I went there after 1 year graduating in UP for my a Bachelor of Arts in Social Welfare. And then after those 2 years, another year of practice, I came home. Kaya yung career ko, dire-diretso na. Kaya nga sabi ko, very important ang education because along the way, eh, I also got a scholarship for a master's degree in public health at the University
Wow.
of Pittsburgh. Kaya sabi ko nga, maganda pagkakataon to serve naman the educational sector. And so I asked Mayor Olivares, I am interested to be in the local health board. Kasi, in fact, I just learned the other day, we should emphasize family health. Kasi sometimes we're
Yeah,
interested
precisely.
in children lang. Pero if you look at the entire family health, I think should be the order of the day. And tamang-tama kayo sa Las Piñas because you have a hospital and you can implement, you can, develop something, an innovation like that, developing family health.
Pero Cora, yung mga masters mo, bihira yung mga courses na that's not even available in the Philippines. Masters in social work.
Meron naman sa UP, but dumami na
UP has it.
afterwards.
What
But
about masters in public health? It's also not very popular.
UP already has it. Meron na rin ang UP.
Ateneo ba has that? NPH? Meron yata sila.
Hindi.
Bago rin yan.
No, ano lang, mga special course lang. Ang kanila,
I see.
Masters in Public Management. And that is why Vico Soto was my student. My claim to fame.
Magaling naman siya, no? Mahusay siya.
Yes, magaling. Dati, ang kwento ko, palagi siyang late. Nung nakita niyang ako, maaga ako, una pa ako sa mga estudyante, hindi na siya nalilate. Sumunod na siya sa aking protocol na kailangan maaga. Anyway, moving on, kasi Ed wanted only to stay up to half an hour kasi I'm sure he's busy. Meron ka pang tanong, Johnny, hindi ka pa nakakapagtanong. Baka meron ng mga nagla-like sa atin.
Ang daming tinatanong, baka daw pwede
sige.
makahingi ng preview kay Congressman Edsa. What will happen dun sa what are we to expect dito sa 2 araw na webinar na ito, Congressman?
Well, yun na nga because, first of all, we are very personality cult-oriented. Even our political party, hardly anybody has an ideology. They're built around a personality. So when the personality dies, the ideology goes with it. Well, since we're a personality-oriented country, we might as well start looking for what are the personal characteristics and traits that we're looking for in the candidate. Let's stop all this name calling, all this chismis, and all of this negative vibes. Ano ba talaga hinahanap natin? No? Ano ba dapat na maging Pangulo? Ano hinahanap natin sa kanya? Ano man dapat na maging traits ng Vice President, mga senador, mga congressman, pagandahan lalaki na lang ba yan? Magpapakyut ka na lang dyan, sasayaw-sayaw, kakanta-kanta ka, okay ka na. Ano ba talaga gusto natin? And then when we elect them, they don't perform. Who is to blame? We have to blame ourselves.
Yes. Agree.
Sino ba nagsabi? No? Si Rizal yata nagsabi, you deserve the country that you sabi niya kalimutan ko.
Yes.
There is a saying, you deserve the country that you elect or the people in the country that you elect. You deserve what you get.
Agree.
Pinili mo yan. Kung mahusay isang tao, magaling. Paano kung palpak? Palpak siya ng gobyerno natin. Diba?
Pero yung may mga taong may mga taong nare-recognize sila ang kahinaan nila. Kaya katulad ni Erap, after 3 years, he gave it up. He could have stayed. Diba? So I honor him for making that decision.
Yes, I know.
To get out.
As a matter of fact, Ora, I also know of one or two. I don't want to mention their names, but there was an opportunity for them to become president. But on the private, when you talk to them privately, they really tell you, pare, hindi ko naman kaya yan. Bakit ko pipilitin ang sarili ko? I mean, these are the people that we should salute. People who are humble and magnanimous to others. No? Kasi kung di mo talaga kaya, bakit mo pipilitin? Diba? Hindi naman lahat pwede maging presidente. Diba?
Well, sometimes sa tingin ko, yung pagiging presidente, act of God eh. Hindi mo ginusto,
That's
pero
also
na-trust
true.
ka.
Mm.
I think that happened to Duterte. Na very clear ang kanyang mandate, yung tatlong gagawin niya, pero hindi niya kaya kung siya lang mag-isa. I think that's the message. Anyway,
And then-
Mike Silang. Go
And then
ahead.
the other thing, Cora, no, I think it's very important. It's something that I admire with the Americans. No? And I don't even want to compare ourselves to the Americans. But if there's anything I like about their culture, when after the fight is over, will you please let's all get together and unite behind whoever.
Yes.
Let's stop this bickering and finger pointing. It never ends. You know? Whoever it is, we should work together and get ourselves
Yes.
united and hope and pray together that he makes it. Because if he makes it, we all make it. No? Instead
Yeah.
of fooling each other
Yeah.
forever and ever.
Oo.
Ay, nako.
On that note, I feel proud that during the time of Mayor Bernabe, I was a consultant. And during the time of Mayor Olivares,
Well,
I also served as consultant. Because para
You know,
sa akin,
Cora, I don't want to lift your bed, but you're a woman of all seasons, you know. And I know you're a very humble person, but you know, there are very few people like you who, in spite of your accomplishment, you remain humble and you continue to serve. You can very well say, I've done my time, bye-bye guys. See you. You
okay.
still are it.
Thank you, Ed. And our next
It's
guest,
always a pleasure, Cora.
Dr. Besa is here
am
already, I think.
Diyan na ba?
Sige,
Yung
thank you.
guesting niya?
We'll invite you
Sige.
again.
Yes,
Thank you so much,
anytime.
Congressman.
I feel
Yeah,
honored.
thank you for
all the
your time.
with you. Salamat
Thank
po.
you.
Salamat.
Thank
Salamat
you.
po ng marami. Alright. Salamat po ng marami. Si dating Parañaque 1st District Congressman Edza. Siya pala yung nagpauso, Tita Cora, ha? Ed Shalsita. Ayan. Salamat
Yes.
po. Nasa kabilang linya na rin, Tita Cora, ang ating susunod na panauhin, si Dr. Arlene Besa. Siya naman po ay tumatakbong konsihal para po sa Parañaque City. Tita Cora, si Dr. Arlene nasa kabilang linya na.
Yeah, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat.
Yes. Kahapon kasi, the other day, kahit na siya naimbita, last 10 minutes siya kasi marami siyang pasyente. Sabi ko, hindi, sabihin mo sa pasyente mo maghintay because you will be busy for half an hour for this interview. And ako naman natutuwa dahil marami akong gustong tanong na makatutulong para sa pag-unlad ng health sector natin sa Parañaque. First question, Johnny, I want to ask Adine, why did she decide to run as an independent na councilor? Kasi, well, of course, pwedeng puno na yung partido, no? Pero alam niya kung ano gusto niya and she wants to be able to serve. So, ikwento mo, what made you decide to run as a councilor, Arlene?
Okay, Tita Cora, first of all, no, I would like to say thank you very much for inviting me in your radio program to be able to talk about myself, my decision, why I am running, and also my platform of government. Now, for your first question, as I was saying yesterday, being a doctor, the COVID-19 pandemic became my eye-opener for the reality that kung walang tutulong sa mga nangangailangan, sino ang pwedeng tumulong? So with my background as a doctor, with my training, and with all the knowledge that I was given, I think I am one of the best person to help. And also even if I will not run, I am here to help. Actually, Tita, yun po yung diskusyon namin ng mga anak ko. Sabi nga nila when I was asking permission from them, Mom, you don't need to have a title next to your name because you as a doctor now, you are able to help. Meron kang pinapanganak na libre, meron kang natutulian ng libre, meron kang nabibigyan ng free consultation sa ano mo. Minsan may nagpupunta sa bahay, bigla na lang dadating at merong consultation na gagawin sa'yo. So you don't need to be a counselor or you don't need to be a politician. Now, ang sagot ko naman po sa mga anak ko, anak, because during the COVID-19 pandemic, my hands were tied, no? I became handicapped with regards to helping people who went to me, texting me, calling me, asking me for help. No, we all know that during the pandemic, nagkaroon po tayo ng kakulangan sa mga facilities, especially doon po sa hospitalization privileges or yung mga pangangailangan. Now, focusing where I stay, where I live, where I spend most of my time, which is Parañaque, it is very evident that we only have one government hospital here. We have several private hospitals here. And what is very surprising is that tinalo pa po ng mga private hospitals natin yung nag-iisang government hospital po natin when it comes to the capacity to offer service. What do I mean by this? Our government hospital, which is OSPAR 1, is operating on a level 1 license given by the Department of Health. So when you say level 1 po, ito po ay nasa pinakamababang antas ng pagbibigay ng serbisyo. Meron po itong kakulangan lalo na sa mga very specific na mga departments, no? For one is the presence of the ICU, which is very important for critical patients, no? And we all know what is very common during the COVID pandemic is the comorbidities of those who for those who contracted COVID-19. And the ICU setup is one of the most important. So that's one. And the other facilities, when you are in a level 1, is the number of bed capacity to operate. So being a level 1 hospital, you can only admit as much. No, I think it's only below 50 beds that you can operate. So if you're going to look at the population of Parañaque, we have 2 districts. Imagine if you have your government hospital only having a 50-bed capacity to operate, how can you admit patients? How can you give service to all the people in Parañaque? And another one is that people, friends, relatives asking me kung saan sila pwedeng ma-admit during the COVID. So I can only point to the private hospitals, wherein the private hospitals existing in Parañaque are all level 2 and level 3 hospitals. So yun po yung nakakalungkot na yung mas nakakarami, yun po yung hindi maka-afford ng hospitalization. So that's one. Even if I want to help them, I can only give them as much. No? I don't have anything to give them except the service that I have. And this is what I normally tell my patients, no? And even now in my campaign, ako po, I can only give what I have. I cannot give what I do not have. So what I have right now is only my profession as a surgeon because I'm an OB-GYN. So as a surgeon, I can always give them my skill, no? So I can operate, I can do yung minor procedures and the consultation. But other than that, no, sabi ko nga madalas, no, if I give you something that I do not have, pag ako ay hinalal ninyo, kayo ang masya-shortchange. Kasi definitely, babawiin sa inyo yun eh. Kung ano yung hindi nanggaling sa akin. And I think most people will always have that kind of mentality.
Arlene, gusto ko lang i-point out, at that time, there was only one OSPAR, and that was the hospital in La Huerta. Another hospital has been built in Better Living, OSPAR 2. Pero talagang kulang na kulang ang facilities because nakita ko hindi naman pwedeng may hospital pero kulang ang facilities, kulang ang staff. So ito siguro, that is why I asked Mayor Edwin na I would like to help kasi as consultant, I feel I could make a contribution dun sa local health sa ating yung committee, no, para ano pa yung kailangan. In fact, merong isang donor na nung merong isang namatay dahil wala silang CT scan. Dinala namin sa UniHealth. Pero ang problem naman, hindi naman affordable yung pasyenteng pinadala doon. At anyway, namatay din. But that's another story. Ang punto de vista ko lang ay hindi pa level ngayon, kasi sabi nga level 1 pa lang USPAR. Pero malaki din naman na itulong nila sa pagbabakuna, yung make it available, tsaka gumamit na ng facilities. No, I'm just making some plea for our health system dahil ginamit ang Ayala, ginamit ang mga SM sukat para mabigyan ng karagdagan tulong yung mga nakatira sa Parañaque. Pero I will admit, of course, kulang pa dahil masyadong malaki ang population. Fast forward, ano ang gusto mo ngayong mangyari? Because you are running as an independent, am I correct? And
Yes, po.
and therefore that you are for Area 1 ba tayo? Ano bang
District
saan
1
area
po.
tumatakbo?
District 1. District 1
District
po.
1, which is our district. Diba?
Yes, opo.
Yung San Dionisio, Las Piñas, Donggalo, which is really, and including Baclaran, which is heavily
Opo.
populated. Ang gusto ko lang malaman sa'yo, because syempre, specific ka, panganganak, o bigay pero yun nga, sa mga bata, tumutulong ka din. Nakikita ko na mahalagang pag-aralan, ano ang the best way na you can make a difference when you become counselor. Siguro yun ang focus natin because we only have the last 15 minutes. Anong
Okay.
palagay mo magiging contribution mo para to change the face of health system in Parañaque? Go
Tita,
ahead.
first of all, I would like to correct you, no? OSPAR 2 is not operating as a hospital. It doesn't have a license from the Department of Health to
Not yet.
operate
I didn't know
as a
that.
hospital.
Okay.
Apo.
Oo.
So, until now, 3 years na po siyang almost 3 years na po siyang nakatayo, but they still don't have a license to operate from the Department of Health. Now, going back to your question, just like what I mentioned earlier, I cannot further help because I don't have the means, no? But if I become a counselor, as a
Yeah.
counselor, we are able to come up with ordinances and laws, no? So the ordinances can come up with programs. So I will concentrate specifically on the health program. In my platform of government, I will establish the Parañaque Healthcare Program. So in the Parañaque Healthcare Program, I have 3 major programs. Number 1 is for us to come up with a big hospital which will be in the level 2 capacity to serve the people. So when you say level 2, again, there is an increased number of beds that it can operate. So it can admit a lot of patients, no? It can operate up to 75 beds and above. It all depends on the
Capacity.
It will all depend on the requirements of the DOH of the hospital that you will have accredited. No? Kasi i-inspect po yan. Actually, ang proseso po para po ma-accredit ang isang ospital ng Department of Health, from the start po, there should be a blueprint. Actually, when you start from scratch, yung blueprint po na to, ito po ay sinasubmit sa Department of Health. And lahat po ng specific na criteria or requirements should be indicated there. Halimbawa, if you want to apply for a level 2 hospital, from the very start, dapat lahat po ng mga specifications nung construction mag-fit in doon po sa level 2. And then the machines, all the equipments will follow later on. So pagka nagkaroon po tayo ng ordinansa na tayo po ay mabibigyan ng budget sa konseho at ng mayor, tayo po ay makakapagtayo ng level 2. I don't think OSPAR 1 can do that, no? For one, there is a limited space for the parking. Kasi if we want a bigger hospital, definitely we will have more doctors, more manpower. So if we have limited space, especially parking pa lang po, how can our doctors conveniently go to the hospital and go on duty there? Okay? So second, if you have a level 2 hospital, more departments will function. Hindi lang po yung 4 major departments like the Department of Surgery. Opo. So like, ang pinaka-basic lang po kasi which can be present in level 1 is the Department of Surgery, OB-GYN, pediatrics, and internal medicine. If you are in a level 2 hospital, ito po yung big difference niya. You can have a training. And with the training, you can also have research. So if you have training among the doctors, definitely manpower will not be a problem. And even sa nurses po, if we can come up with school, no? I think there's already the Parañaque City College. So maybe we can come up with a College of Nursing in that school, and even a College of Medicine in the City College of Parañaque. So we can produce nurses and our very own doctors who can be the manpower of this level 2 or level 3 hospital. So hindi po tayo magkakaroon ng kakulangan ng manpower. And even the services itself. So meron pang Department of Rehab. So yung mga nai-stroke can have an opportunity to have their physical therapy, the occupational therapists as well, the speech pathologists for babies who are special, no? Yeah. The children who will need also therapy for such. So a bigger hospital, that's one. And then I want all the Parañaqueños to have their Parañaque health card. So with the Parañaque health card, they can use this in this big hospital that I am saying. So if we have already established the big hospital, or even if we do not still have that big hospital, we can partner with the private hospitals in Parañaque, just like what is being done in Las Piñas.
And Makati.
They have the green card. So the green card is being subsidized by the local government. So in Parañaque, we can also do that. So since there are a lot of level 2 hospitals in Parañaque, we can come up with a MOA, with a memorandum of agreement with these level 2 hospitals in Parañaque. And we can subsidize this green card, this Parañaque health card. So we will just come up with a budget for this so we can give it to the people of Parañaque. And then the third one, with regards to the healthcare, I want to put up a maternity and children's hospital so that there will be a focus on all the women and children in Parañaque. For one, being trained in Dr. Jose Fabella Memorial Hospital, I have a lot of experiences, no, which I know I can help. And with all the colleagues that I have, with my pedia partners as well, who are also well trained, no, in our big institutions in the Philippines, they can help us put up the maternity and children's hospital.
Okay. Arlene, for the next 10 minutes, kasi ang reality that we have to face with is that we have very little time, but I hope in the future we can talk some more about this. Pero ang akin, ang possibility of what I call a trust na sa barangay, there will be a family health program. Ano yung family health? Titingnan lahat ang health condition ng entire family. Kumbaga, si Gomez family, ilan ang nakatira dyan sa barangay na yan? Ano ang situation ng kanilang health? Because parang yun ang family diagnosis, malalaman mo sino yung may sakit at sino yung focus. Kasi ang nangyayari, emergency nila. Na-aksidente, na-stroke, etc. Hindi dapat makarating sa ganun level. Dapat really primary healthcare, I believe. And of course, teaching the people how to take care, how to know. So, I don't think we have enough time because we only have that 10 minutes. How do you intend to win? Kasi ito ang realidad, ano? You're an independent. How are you managing your campaign? Because you have to relate to the reality. You have to rely rather on the realities that a lot of independent candidates likely, I don't want to say you will lose, no? I will have difficulties gaining ground. So siguro ang tanong na lang natin, this is why I'm giving you the platform para maipaliwanag mo how many votes do you need to be able to make it? Do you have an idea?
Yes po, because the COMELEC gave us the total number of voters for District 1. So again, I would like to mention the 8 barangays that comprises District 1. No? It's Baclaran, Vitales, Tambo, Dongalo, Santo Niño, La Huerta, San Dionisio, Dongalo, and San Isidro. So Those are the 8 barangays.
Mm.
Now, the 8 barangays have a total of at least 146,000 voters. So, according to them, the top 8. So, for me to win, according to them, at least 40,000 votes and above. I'm not so sure, no, if it's really
Hindi, pero
40,000.
I
but
don't think you should rely to you the 40,000. I think better to rely on a higher because may mga
Yes.
candidates na ng local government eh. Sa akin palagay, ang dapat makapture mo is a higher vote capacity. And I think ito siguro yung where I want to help you to be able to look at all of the barangays and then talk to them and say kung pwede ikaw ay makasingit them because you have a platform and you want to be able to arrange that you will be able to deliver those services. To me, this is where I can help and this is where under the baranganic approach, yung mga barangays will carry you because you will be able to do something on the health of all the barangays you mentioned. 8 barangays. Kung ang target mo, 8 barangays, you will transform. Pero I don't think you can transform it by waiting until you have a big hospital. Sa akin, really primary health care, family care, ang dapat ma-focus para that way, without expecting huge chunks of money, you can deliver the service the best way you can, one, na preventive, yung hindi sila magkakasakit para hindi sila mangangailangan ng masyadong malalaking equipment. So, we don't have much time. Si Johnny, baka may comment bago tayo mag-close. Anong tanong mo kay Doktora?
Isang tanong lang kay Doktora
Arlene.
Doktora Arlene. First time natin yung ganito, Tita Cora, na professional, yung ating ini-interview tapos tatakbo for government office, for public office. Doktora, ang aking tanong, if you are going to be given the chance na mamili, would you rather choose running for public office or stick to your profession na alam kong bahal na bahal mo at nakakatulong ka naman po sa kapwa?
Actually po, I would choose both, no? Marami na po nagtanong sa akin yan, even my own patients, no? So my answer is, of course, I will not leave my profession because I was called here by God. No, I don't want to sound very religious or spiritual, but I have that. I have surrendered all my life to God. That's why I want to help because I know this is part of the mission that God is giving me. So since having my Hippocratic oath, when I graduated and when I passed my board exam as a physician, that's part of the Hippocratic oath that we remain to serve and to treat our patients. So sabi ko nga, hindi ko po kakaririn ang pagiging politiko. Actually po, when I am entering this one, my 3 children are violently reacting and they really are not supportive of it. For one, because of the stories that they hear from me, which is from my father. Tita Cora knows my dad.
Yes.
No? My dad became a barangay captain in Malate, Manila. But my lolo and my lola will always tell him, anak, wag kang pumasok sa politika, napakadumi ng politika. So ako naman po, it's not politics that I am entering. I am entering servant leadership. So sabi ko nga, even po yung campaign ko, I am running on a very limited funds. Wala po ako talagang pera, but siguro sa dami na rin po ng mga na paglingkuran po, natulungan po. Kasi naglingkod po ako sa simbahan, sa St. Andrew Cathedral, at saka po sa Mary Queen of Apostles. And luckily, fortunately, yung 2 pong simbahan nito are also in District 1 of Parañaque. And I became the head of the COSHP, yung Commission on Service to Human Promotion. Wherein, fortunately rin po, yung 8 simbahan doon po sa 8 barangay, yun din po yung nahawakan ko. So kaya nga po yung mga tumutulong din sa akin ngayon during my campaign are the same people na nakasama ko po nung naglilingkod po kami sa simbahan. Ano po itong paglilingkod? Nagkaroon po kami nung tinatawag na hapagkainan ni San Andres, na kung saan po yung mga bata at yung mga nanay, sila po ay pinapakain namin physically and spiritually. Physically with lunch and then spiritually evangelization po with the Word of God. And then meron po kaming mga medical missions na ginagawa, especially pagka meron pong mga fiesta. Meron din po kaming ginawang free cataract extraction na nag-invite po ako ng isang ophthalmologist doon sa simbahan namin at meron po kaming 16 beneficiary na nakakita. So meron din po kaming libreng gupitan na nagawa coming from the Ricky Reyes Foundation. Nagbigay po kami ng libreng pagtuturo ng pagpapagupit at saka yung pagpukulot po. May series po sila noon eh. So meron din po kami yung vaccination po nung flu vaccine na very very cheap po na price na ino-offer namin. So tama rin po si Tita Cora na the preventive, the primary health care. Kasi po, ang pre-med ko po is public health. So I graduated from the College of Public Health in UP Manila. So Tita, that's part also of my platform of government, which is yung sa health center. Iaangat ko po yung kapasidad ng mga health center natin, lalong-lalo na po yung kanilang delivery ng mga gamot, ng mga basic services. Lalo na po ngayon sa aking pagtutuli ng libre sa mga community, nasasabi ko nga po sa sarili ko, isa to sa mga basic na health services na pwedeng ibigay ng libre.
Ako naman, the way I can help is that we can meet with the 8 barangays in process and talk to them also about family health. Because ito naman ang pinupush ng Red Cross. Working with the community, working with partners, and working with government, yung tatlong areas, because I'm a Red Crosser. So tingnan natin how the Red Cross can be utilized to ensure family health. Let's end at this point kasi I'm only given 1 minute. Johnny, your take?
Tita, I'm also a director of Philippine Red Cross Parañaque branch under the Rizal chapter. So we can have interlinkages, no? Yung networking po.
Yeah.
Alright,
Johnny,
ako talagang
yung ending mo.
Tita Cora, natutuwa ako dahil itong ating final salvo, what a way to end the week, no? Isang professional yung ating nakausap, running for public office. Marami tayong kailangan na ganyan. Kaya ngayon pa lang, congratulations, Dr. Arlene, and all
Maraming
the best.
Salamat po, Sir Johnny.
All the best po sa inyong tatahaking panibagong history ng inyong buhay. Salamat po, ma'am.
Maraming salamat din po sa pagkakataong ibinigay niyo sa akin na i-share ko po ang aking pagkatao at ang aking mga accomplishments. Maraming salamat po. Tita Cora, maraming salamat po.
Yes. Thank you. And I'll see you before the elections, of course, and then after. Sige.
Yes. Actually, ngayong hapon nga po, magtatramo po ako. Before I go po, can I just greet my son? Birthday po ni Andre. My eldest son po is
Andre,
26 years old.
Ito yung magiging, pero hindi ito yung magiging pope, di ba?
Hindi po.
Second son mo.
Wala na po magiging pope. Pabalik na po siya sa med school. My eldest son.
Alright.
Very good.
Med school.
Sige.
Happy birthday, Andre. Again, congratulations, Dr. Arlene. Tita Cora, your final words, ma'am. Go ahead.
Yes, ang final word ko, magagawa natin ang lahat ng bagay kung di tayo nag-iisa. Yung pagpunta dito ni Arlene ay pagpapakilala na kailangan siya makilala. Ito yung mga masasabi ko na kahit anong bagay na gusto mo, hindi magagawa kung nag-iisa ka. Kaya kailangan talagang pagtulong-tulong, and I wish you well. I wish you well in all your undertakings, and I am sure with God's will, God's help, you will make it. Maraming salamat, Arlene.
Maraming salamat din po, and God bless everyone.
Salamat po na marami sa pangalan po. Thank you so much, Dr. Arlene, the AJ Austria, na ating Technical Director. At sa pangalan ng ating tita ng barangay, Tita Cora Alma de Leon, po si Johnny Gomez, pansamantala. Bye-bye.